Hello Williams class. For your arithmetic today, we are doing division by 12. So pause this video, have a go at working them out, and then unpause for the answers. Our answers are as follows. We have 60 divided by 12 equals 5, 36 divided by 12 equals 3, 12 divided by 12 equals 1, 144 divided by 12 equals 12, 24 divided by 12 equals 2, 48 divided by 12 equals 4, 72 divided by 12 equals 6, 108 divided by 12 equals 9, 84 divided by 12 equals 7, and 120 divided by 12 equals 10. So well done if you got all of them correct, and make sure to correct the ones that you didn't. Our learning objective for today is, can I use efficient mental multiplication methods? Can I help my partner? Here's a question for you. If 9 times 4 equals 36, how many other related facts can you think of? So a factor pair, if you'll remember from last lesson, we were thinking about factor pairs. A factor pair that equals 12 is 2 times 6, because 2 times 6 equals 12. So how could you use this to help find the answer to 12 times 6, which is a much bigger sum? Well, the way to do that is as follows. 12 times 6 is what we are trying to find out. So the way to work it out is to break down the 12, the bigger number, into its factor pair. So you break it down into that sum, that when you multiply that sum, you get that number. So for example, 12 can be broken down into 2 times 6. Because 2 times 6 equals 12. So you get that number anyway. So the new sum then would look like the 12 broken down, which is 2 times 6, and then you times 6, because that is the remainder of the sum. So that equals 2 times 6 times 6. Then you work it out. So I've chosen to work out 6 times 6 first, so I get 36. So you do 2 times 36. So in the end, all you're really doing is doubling 36 to get your answer, which should be 72. Let's have a go with another question. How could you use factor pairs to help find the answer to 15 times 4? So I'm going to choose to break down the bigger number out of those two. So which one's bigger, 15 or 4? 15. So I'm going to break it down into a factor pair. What two numbers would you multiply to get 15? 5 and 3. So you break 15 down into 5 and 3. So you do 3 times 5, and then you put the remainder of the sum, which is times 4. So your new sum that you're working with is 3 times 5 times 4. And then you just carry on multiplying. And remember, we have had practice of multiplying 3 different numbers together. So try and think about that as you're doing this. So I chose to do 5 times 4 first, because I know my 5 times tables really, really well. And I got 20. But then I still have the 3 to multiply. So it's 3 times 20. And my answer was 60. So that is a really, really nice way of working out something as tricky as 15 times 4. Here is your independent work then. We have questions 1, 2, 3, and 4 to do. Now you can pause the video and work them out now, and then when you unpause the video, you will see me going through them with you. Right, so let's see if we can do these together then to double check your answers. We have question number 1. Class 4 are multiplying 28 times 4 mentally. They are trying 2 different methods. So part A says, complete their calculations. Right, so their calculation has started off with 20 times 4 plus 8 times 4. So I'm going to take my pen and complete that sum for them. So the first sum then is 20 times 4. Now what is 20 times 4? I'm thinking it is 80. So if you got that, you've gotten off to a great start. And then 80 plus, what's the other sum? It's 8 times 4. Now think about your 4 times tables or your 8 times tables, whichever one you're most comfortable with, and multiply those two together. So 8 times 4 would be 32. I'm going to write that here. So now all you have to do is 80 plus 32. Which would be 112. Amazing. So method 2 then, it says 4 times blank equals blank. Okay, so what I think we should do first is figure out how many circles are in each coloured array. So they look like they're going to be the same number each time. Now the way to work out how many circles are in each array is not by counting every single one, unless you want to do that, you're more than welcome to. But I do have a quicker way of doing it, and that is by figuring out how many circles go across this way and then this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 going that way, and then how many go down? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 7 that way and 4 this way. If I multiply them together, I'll know how many is in that whole yellow array. And like I said, it looks like the same size as the green, blue, and red arrays. So the number should be the exact same for all of them. So what's 4 times 7 then? Let me think. If you got 28, you are correct. So in each array, there is 28. Now, the reason why I'm putting 28 in this box is because I want to work out how many circles there are all together. So there are 28 in one, but we have 4 arrays to work out the total 4. So it's going to be 4 times 28. Now, the way to work this out, if you're thinking, I don't know my 4 times tables until I get to 28 times, don't worry. What we can do to break this down is by breaking down the bigger number in the sum, which is 28. So the way to break it down is that you leave as it is 4 times, and then find the factor pair for 28. What is the factor pair for 28? The clue is that it is on the screen in front of you right now. What is the factor pair? 2 numbers that when you multiply them together, you should get 28. Oh, let's see if we're correct, because I'm about to write 4 times 7, because we know that 4 times 7 equals 28, so we found the factor pair. So this is a really nice way to break it down. So 4 times 4 would be, if you got 16, then you're correct. And then you multiply that by 7 equals, now this is some tricky multiplication to do, so let's see if you can figure it out. The way I would figure this out is by doing 16 at the top here times 7. And you do a line. So 6 times 7 is what? Think about your 6 times tables or your 7 times tables, whichever one you're comfortable with. Multiply them together, you should get 42. So 2 here, and then carry the 4. And then 1 times 7 would be 7. And then you add the 4. So 7 times 4, put 7 in your head, hold up 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you put the 11 there. So what's our answer? 112. So very well done. We've done part A. So part B, which method do you find easier? So that's for you to think about. Which method do you think was easier? Was it easier to work out using method 1 or method 2? Have a little think to yourself. And then if you want to share your answers on Tapestry, you're more than welcome to. Part C. What other methods could you use to work out 28 times 4? Now, I would love to see which other methods you come up with, so be sure to leave your responses on Tapestry. Question 2. Scott is working out 21 times 4. So what he's done here is he's done 20 times 4 to get 80. Then he's done 80 take away 4 to get 76. And then he's done 21 times 4 equals 76. Now, what mistake has Scott made there? I would say that the mistake that he's made is he's not broken up the question into separate parts properly. The way that I've been teaching you to do it is by breaking down the bigger number in the sum, which is 21. You break it down into its factor pair. So what is a factor pair for the number 21? What 2 numbers do you multiply together to get 21? If you said 3 times 7, then you are correct, because 3 times 7, when you multiply them, you get 21. So very well done. And then you write the rest of the sum, which is times 4. And now you can work this sum out. This is part B now. You can work this out now because you can multiply 3 and 4 together. They don't have to be next to each other to work them out. You can just choose the 2 numbers that you think would be easier for you to work out. So you know your 3 times tables, you know your 4 times tables. So what is 3 times 4? While I'm writing it down, I'm hoping you're shouting out the answer. If you got 12, you are correct. And then what's the rest? What's the remaining number that we still have to multiply? 7. So now these are your 12 times tables that you have been revising a little bit. So what would 12 times 7 be then? If you got 84, you are correct. Well done. So the correct answer then is not 76, which is what Scott got, but 84. Question 3. Jack works out 36 times 9. So adapt his method to work out 36 times 99. So if we take this question here then, and we add a 9 to this 9 to make it 99, which is the sum that we want to work out, 36 times 99, what would I have to add here? If you said another 0, you are correct to change it from 10 to 100 because we're adding numbers now. And now let's try working this out then. So 36 times 100. What is 36 times 100? If you said 3,600, you are correct. Well done. And then what is 36 times 1? So if you got 36 times 1 equals 36, you are correct. Well done. And then what's the sign that we have to make sure we put in the middle? The subtraction. So what would that equal then? Have a little think. What's 3,600 take away 36? Making sure that you're remembering how we subtract. Let's see if you got the same answer as me. I got 3,564. So if you got that too, very well done. We have just changed Jack's method to work out a completely different sum because we found some similarities in it to help us. Well done. Last but certainly not least, Esther has found a quick way to multiply 84 by 5. So what she's done then is done 84 times 5. She's written down the sum that we have to work out. She's multiplied the number 5 by 2. She's doubled it. So double 5 is 10. So she's done 84 times 10 equals 840. And then she's halved that number because she multiplied that number twice. In the end, she had to divide it. So she divided the answer 840, which is 420. Now, use Esther's method to complete these calculations. So how would you use this to help you to answer these 3 sums? So what you would do then is do 43 times 10 because you're doubling this number because we know our 10 times table is a lot better. It's a lot more simple to solve it. So 43 times 10 will be 430. And then because you doubled 5, when you get your answer by timesing 10, by multiplying by 10, you have to divide that number by 2. You have to halve it. Because you doubled in the beginning, you can't just leave it doubled. You have to halve it. So you go back to the original question that you were working out. So half of 430, which is 430 divided by 2, would be 215. So 43 times 5 equals 215. 74 times 5 then. So you do 74 times 10, and then that would be 740. And then you divide the answer by 2, which would be 370. The last one, 62 times 5 becomes 62 times 10, which is 620. Because you doubled something here, you must halve it as well. So half of 620, which is 620 divided by 2, equals 310. And there you have it. That is your maths lesson for today. If you found anything tricky or if you had any questions, keep them in mind for our live sessions and I'll be sure to help you as best as I can. Until then, Williams class, I will see you very, very soon. Take care. Bye.